Angie has made it easier than ever to hire high-quality pros to get all your home service jobs done well. Just bring them your project online or with the Angie app, answer a few questions, and Angie will connect you with local pros who match your specific needs. Or book a service instantly at an upfront price. So join the millions of homeowners who use Angie to care for their homes and get your next home service job done well. Download the free Angie mobile app today or visit Angie.com. That's ANGI.com.
During those 20 years, who had residential custody of Dante?
He did, Daryl did.
May I ask why?
I had some drug issues back then, and...
When did those get resolved?
5 years ago.
Really?
Yes.
Right. How are you now?
I'm great now.
This is the plaintiff, Denise Silver. She says the defendant, her ex-husband, asked her to bail their son out of jail due to a DUI. She loaned him money so their son didn't have to sit behind bars. Turns out she paid the whole entire bail when she thought she was splitting it with the defendant. And she's furious he tried to rip her off like that. She's suing the lying sack of you-know-what for every penny of the $200 he got out of her under false pretenses. This is the defendant, Daryl Fouché. He says he called the plaintiff and told her he wasn't going to be able to get their son out of jail until the next day when he got paid. The plaintiff didn't want her boy sitting in jail overnight and wired him money to bail him out. Now she's coming after him for that money when she's the one who owes him $21,000 in back child support because he's been raising the boy since he was 4? Please. He's accused of bowing out on bail.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
What you are about to witness is real. The participants are not actors. They are actual litigants with a case pending in civil court. Both parties have agreed to drop their claims and have their cases settled here before Judge Marilyn Millian in our forum, the People's Court.
Be seated, come to order, please. Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas. Denise Silver, you are suing your former husband, Daryl Fouché, for $200 in bail money that you sent, according to you, under false pretenses because you were lied to by Mr. Fouché about the amount you should send for bail for your son. Talk to me. What happened?
Well, October 2nd, it was, I don't know what day it was, but October 2nd, he called me about 9 o'clock.
2014?
Of 2014, yes.
Okay.
Called me about 9 o'clock in the morning on my cell phone. I was at work. He said, have you heard from your son?
How old is your son?
He was 23 at the time.
Oh, he's a grown man.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So he calls you. You're living where?
I live in New Jersey. He lives in Georgia, but he doesn't live with his father.
Okay.
He had just moved into his new apartment, was working 2 jobs, just trying to get started.
Okay.
So he called me, his father called me, and said...
How long have you two been separated or divorced?
20 years.
20 plus years, thank God.
Okay. And do you still talk to each other?
Unfortunately, he'll call me or text me.
Just about the boy or not about the boy?
About Dante, usually.
Okay. And
is...
all right. And during those 20 years, who had residential custody of Dante?
He did, Daryl did.
May I ask why?
I had some drug issues back then, and...
When did those get resolved?
5 years ago.
Really?
Yes.
Right. How are you now?
I'm great now.
Good for you.
I'm great.
All right. Talk to me.
So, like I said, he called me and said, have you heard from your son? I said, no, I haven't talked to him, today. Oh, well, he's locked up. He had a DUI. He got pulled over. He got DUI. I'm trying to find out what's going on. Okay, fine. Call me back.
How did you know he had a DUI?
He called me that morning at work, and he said, Dad, I got a DUI. And I was talking to him. I said, what happened? And he just explained it was not even 3,000 feet from his apartment complex.
Yeah, that's how it always is.
His back light.
I almost made it, Dad, without them catching me.
Back light was out. And he told me they pulled him over and everything. So when I talked to him, I said, well, I'm not going to leave
What time of the night or day had that happen?
It was about 2 a.m.
Nothing good ever happens after.
So, yeah, so.
All right, so then, and you tell him what?
I told my son, I said I was not going to bail him out until I left work.
Which was going to be when?
Because I felt like that would have been a lesson learned. You
Of
up
course.
in there, I'm not going to run back.
You don't
and
have to
get
explain that to me.
Oh,
and
okay.
then I'm a tough love kind of girl. But in any event, that would have been when?
That would have been about 6 o'clock that evening.
Okay. So he would have had to spend the day waiting for
Yeah.
you to get around to being able to bail him out.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you do for a living?
I'm a chemist.
A chemist.
Yes.
For what kind of company?
For a chemical company, we make coatings for different material, paint, liquids and stuff.
All right. So you get a call at what time, you say?
Around 9 o'clock in the morning.
And he tells you, I'm not going to be able to bail him out until?
No.
What he said to you was different.
He said to me, he's in jail. I'm trying to find out how much it's going to be for the bail. I'm still waiting to get information. Okay, call me back. Calls me back about an hour or so later. He's in there for DUI. The bail is $550. Okay, when you going to get him? I don't have enough money. If you don't have anything to give, then he's just going to have to sit in there all day. He going to have to stay
until when?
Overnight.
Oh, I was going to give birth to money? How was he going to get the money to the next day?
Don't know, just overnight. So I'm like, you're not going to let our child sit in jail overnight. He was already in there since 2 o'clock in the morning from what you told me. I said, no, what do you need? Oh, well, I have half of it. I got $300. Okay, fine. I'll give you the rest of it.
So you sent $200 how?
To put a direct deposit in his bank account.
And is this going on through text or verbally?
We're on the phone.
Did you guys text also?
He texted me his account number.
Okay, can I see that? Do you have the text in your phone?
I sure do.
All right, so he texts you the account number and you...
I left my job at around 1 o'clock, took the money out of my account and put it into his account.
Okay, and then what happens? Your son gets out when?
About 8 o'clock that night. He kept saying he was going to go. He was just waiting for me to send the money.
Okay, so according to you, he tells you he's going to leave work to bail him out.
Right.
So what time did he call you to tell you the bail is $550 according to you?
That was probably within an hour or two.
From 9?
From 9.
All right, so...
Okay, where's my messages? Well, I can't find it here at the moment, but I have it here.
No, I like to see it in the phone.
I do have it in the phone. It's just going to take me a second.
That's fine, I got a second.
Okay.
While you're looking for that, according to you, what is it you tell her that causes her to put money in your account?
No, this is what happened. I told her he was going to stay. I said to her, I did say to her, I was going to let him stay till tomorrow. I was going to bail him. I was going to bail him out. At the time, I didn't know exactly what the cost of the bond was because he went at 2 a.m. and the time when he called me, he still didn't know what the bond was. So when I got off work at 5 o'clock, by that time, he had told me what the bond was.
Well, but she had already put money in your account at 1 o'clock.
She only put 200. She put 200 in it.
Why did she pick the number 200?
Because that's all I said. Just send me 200. I didn't know what the amount was.
Did you ever tell her the amount was $550?
No, I never told her.
According to you, you never told her that. And then you find out that the bond is what?
The bond
at 5 o'clock. You find out it's what?
The bond from the court was $1,600. The bail bond fee was $245.
Right. So the bond is $1,600, but the fee for the bail bondsman to put up that bond on your behalf was how much?
$245.
$245, and that's money gone because that's their fee.
Yes.
Okay. So do you go and get him out that day, or let him sit another day?
No, I go and get him.
You got him out that day.
He got out.
All right. Now he's a 23-year-old man. When do you first hear from her, hey, I sent you $200. You should be paying for half of his $242, so you owe me some money? Because that's obviously why she's here. In fact, she's here for the whole $200. She doesn't think she should have to pay any of it.
Yes, it's colorful. That's how I feel.
Okay, apparently, instead of having your name, Daryl Fouché, in here, she has you in here as a bad word for rectal orifice. Did you know that?
Welcome back to the People's Court. Harvey Levin here. Would you loan your ex-spouse money?
No.
Why?
They're not going to pay me back.
Are they automatically bad people because it didn't work out?
No, but they have no reason to pay me back because I probably already harbor some sort of resentment towards them, so they're not going to.
What'd you do? What do you say?
Depends who it was.
An ex-spouse?
Yes.
Why?
Well, if it ended on good terms, you might still loan them money, or if they needed the money.
Fair enough. What do you say? Would you do it?
No. Well, I mean, are they giving me am I going to give them the money after we break up, or is it?
No. Well, I'll explain later. Go inside the courtroom.
How long have you had him in there that way?
All his life. But
Did
it's
you pay
gotten worse
child
over the
support
years.
throughout the years that you were struggling?
Yes, I did.
Were you ever in arrears?
I did owe back
Were you in
child
arrears
support.
$21,000?
I was.
Who do you think you are coming in here and giving this man the kind of grief that you're giving him over $200 that you decide to pay for a grown man? God forbid that he spent a little time there and let a little something about DUI. And then because we find out that the bail bondsman's fee was $242, you now want your entire $200 back from a man who you owe $21,000 in back child support to? Have I got it?
You got it, but...
Who you called?
Yes.
And you call him?
Yes. I paid for his college.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
I want you to do something for me right now. I want you to imagine that you are the woman and you are the man. And in comes the man who is $21,000 in arrears in child support, which, by the way, the woman just blew off and said, he's a grown man, forget it, I'm not even going to chase you for it, right? You went ahead and, okay. And the man who is $21,000 in child support in arrears says to the woman who has raised the child thanks to the man's drug problems, okay? And then the man, $21,000 in arrears in child support, who owes everything to the other parent who did everything for the kid, because the man didn't do anything. So he owes everything to the woman. Then sends the woman $200 measly, and then has the nerve to come in and tell the judge, give me my $200 back. I'd like to know what any judge would say other than, no. You deadbeat, no, right? Why is it any different if you're a woman? I fight all my life for the kind of equality that wouldn't permit something like that to happen. And then you come as a member of my gender and say, I want my $200 back. He hasn't done enough and I did too much at that time. And the irony is that you are not asking for 120 something back, which would be half. You want the entire $200 back. Explain yourself.
Well, I did ask for half of the money.
And now you think you should get the whole thing.
And
Why?
he kept ignoring me. He just said, you're not getting anything. He never even told me it was $245. I called the bonds company.
Okay.
And they told me it was $245. He still let me believe it was $550. I had no idea until a month ago, I think, when I called. And I've seen him. I've asked him for my money.
Wait, you've seen him how?
He's come to my house.
To do what?
Because he wanted to see my mother. That was his excuse.
So he comes to visit your mother, and you can even turn you could turn anything into a negative.
No, but I said, well, you're going to be up here for a while because his fourth wife and him were getting a divorce, and her father had passed away.
Have you guys dated in the last 20 years?
No.
Okay, I was just curious.
No.
All right, a girl can dream.
Yeah,
I
know. No.
So here's the deal, Miss Silver. We're talking about a grown man.
Yes.
You chose in a moment to spend $200 on bail money. That was your choice to do that. Why aren't you chasing your son for the $200?
Because I gave it to him.
So what? He didn't eat it. He gave it to the bail bondsman for your son.
Right.
So what? Have you ever said to your son, you owe me $200?
No, I said it to him because I sent it to him.
Right, it doesn't matter. He doesn't owe you $200.
Okay.
He doesn't.
That's fine.
He doesn't. And it's kind of, I want what you got, the kind of hubris you have to come in here and ask for it. I want you to bottle it, and I want you to sell it in the open market because it's going to make you rich. Okay. Verdict for the defendant.
Thank you.
Hello.
Yeah, $200. All this over $200.
Yes, it was the principle of the thing, and it's okay.
Explain that.
It was just the fact that he lied to me. If, don't ask me for something if you can't do anything.
Why are you so mad at him?
Because he's full of lies.
After all these years.
All these years, he's still lying.
And you're still mad at him.
Because he's still lying. But it's fine. Thank you.
All right. What's your feeling on this outcome here?
I'm just glad it's over with. My son, he's a grown man. He took care of what he had to.
Why do you think she's so mad at you?
I have no idea. None. I mean, it was 22 years ago we got divorced, so I guess that's why. I have no idea.
You come up to see the mom and...
Yeah, my family lives in Jersey. Her mother and her sister...
You still have feelings for her?
I'm always
What's
love her
going on
because it's my
between
son's
you?
mother.
Yeah.
That's it. No, nothing else.
All right. Harvey?
Gotta say, if you do end up in some kind of a business thing with an ex, especially important to get it in writing, they are your ex for a reason. And that will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.
Angie has made it easier than ever to hire high-quality pros to get all your home service jobs done well. Whether it's routine maintenance, an emergency repair, or a dream project, Angie lets you compare quotes from multiple local pros, browse homeowner reviews, and even book a service instantly. Angie's been connecting people with skilled pros for nearly 30 years. So the next time you have a home project, bring it to Angie to get your job done well. Download the free Angie mobile app today or visit Angie.com. That's ANGI.com.
This is the plaintiff, Michael Shaineman. He says he hired the defendants to fix his foundation and repair his chimney. And it's now obvious they had no idea what the heck they were doing. Now his house is in much worse shape than before they started working on it. He had no idea they were just starting out and were inexperienced. And now he's out $3,000, which he's suing for today. These are the defendants, Dennis and John Murphy. Dennis says he's been doing masonry work for 30 years, thank you very much. So he disagrees with the plaintiff's assessment that he doesn't know what the heck he's doing. This whole lawsuit's crazy because they did a great job on the plaintiff's house. They weren't even allowed to finish the job, and they know the judge is going to see things their way today and not make them return any money. They're accused of fouling up a house. The defendants have filed a countersuit for $365 for tools not returned.
All parties, please raise your right hand.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case in the docket, the plaintiff says the defendants were incompetent chimney repairmen. He wants his money back. But the defendants say they did a great job. It's the case of, aw, shoot.
Thank you, Douglas. Okay, Michael Shaineman, you are suing Dennis Murphy Jr. and John Murphy for $3,000. You say your actual damages exceed that because of a job they did on your chimney, which you say was substandard. Tell me what happened.
I was doing some work on my house, renovating different parts. I needed the foundation and 2 chimneys stuccoed. So the defendants and myself have a mutual friend. He informed me that they were trying to start their own company, so I gave them a shot, gave them the contract. I was working out of town at the time, so I wasn't there to supervise everything during the week. So during the weekends, I would be able to see their work.
Okay, do you have the contract?
I don't. This was a verbal contract.
That's lovely. Okay, and how much were you going to pay them to do that?
It started out at $2,600, and it went up to $3,900 because they added $1,300 on throughout the course of the work because they needed more materials.
Okay, so you didn't have a problem with that?
I didn't because I just wanted the job done.
Okay, so you pay them in total then $3,900 to do the job, and you should get your money back. Why?
Because the job was done incorrectly.
Poorly. How was it done incorrectly?
They continued to use the same materials, never purchased any more materials to do it correctly.
What makes you say that?
Because I witnessed it. I have documentation showing the materials they had. They were just using a mortar. They weren't using any sort of stucco equipment. They were just using sand and mortar. It was a yellow sand, not even a white sand. And that's reflected in a recording I have with him. I gave him $300 cash to pick up white sand. He didn't even get the white sand, continued with the yellow.
Okay. What else is wrong with the job?
Some of the foundation is starting to chip off. They didn't even get to the chimneys. I had them stop the work because as they were doing the chimneys, I noticed that they were laying the lath wrong.
And they were laying it wrong?
Yes, they were laying it wrong initially. So,
how did you know they were laying it wrong?
Because I consulted my masons after seeing what they were doing. They had 2 pieces vertically that weren't even touching. I know you're supposed to overlap. For integrity, you're supposed to overlap. I have photos that reflect that as well.
Okay, but I don't understand. Like, if you know so much, why did you hire 2 guys who just formed their own company? Because they were friends of a friend?
Basically, I started
Who are you asking all these questions of? That's the person you should hire. There's somebody telling you, no, it's supposed to be this way. No, it's supposed to be that. Who's that person?
That's a mason that I use on different projects.
Why did you use that mason on this project?
I wish I had from the start.
Okay. All right, so at some point you confront them and you say, this has got to stop. I can't have you guys continue the job.
Correct.
And according to you, you reach an agreement with them, and you have an agreement in writing now, that agreement that says that they're going to return $1,600 to you and call it a day.
Correct.
Okay, can I see that agreement? Who wrote it? You did, okay. So at some point you negotiate with them and then you tell them, I need you to return some money and we'll just call it a day. They sign it, you sign it, says I will be returning $1,600 and accepting full payment of the services I've done for the 14 and nothing else is gonna be due. The repayments will be as follows. $400 the week of November 23rd, $600 the month of December, $600 the month of January. So you gave him time to pay it back. Did he pay back any of it?
No.
Okay, what happened in November?
In November
23rd.
November 23rd, I contacted him and asked him about the payment. This was all through text message, and he told me that I misunderstood. He couldn't start the project that he was supposed to do to get the money.
Okay.
So I gave him a little bit extra time. I told him, look, I'll give you another week, but after that, I'm done. You know, I'm going to pursue the matter differently. After that week was up, he just ignored any calls, any attempt to
Do you have texts you were going to show me?
Yes.
Do you have them in the phone or no?
I have them in the phone as well.
Yeah, I like seeing them in the phone because I like scrolling up and down.
That's fine.
It's a nasty little habit I have. What's going on?
Well,
You guys know what you're doing?
yeah, of course. Yeah.
How long have you been doing it?
I started humping block when I was 16.
Hump and block?
Yeah.
Can you call it something else? Is that like that's not what it's called in the industry, is
I
it?
started laboring when I was 16.
Okay, but what were you doing before you formed this company?
Working as a mason.
Okay, for other people?
Yes, for
Okay.
another company.
Are you licensed? Is that a license?
You don't need a license to be a mason. You just have to know what you're doing, and the guys could tell. They'll fire you on the first day if you don't know what you're doing.
Okay, but are you working under someone else's license when you're working for the, do you have a license now or no?
No. I was looking into all of that. I was just starting to get out on my own.
You're supposed to have one, but you don't have one? So what's going on? Because he says that there's multiple mistakes on this problem.
I heard what he said. I have a contract that he signed in the beginning. There was 2 phases to the contract. The first phase was to arrest the damage that his fireplace was doing because it was peeling off the building, and then put a footing in, and that would freeze it in place. And that was phase 1. The phase 2 would have been to put a firebox in on the inside, but he decided to not do that. I have that contract right here that, we completed phase 1 of that for $1,150.
You have a contract from before?
Yes.
That's what we started on.
Yes. This
Let me
is
see
the initial contract that
Did he sign that?
Yep.
That is the carbon copy of the contract.
Did he sign that?
He and I both signed.
Did he? Where's his signature?
He has it. He has the one that
You
we
never
all
got the signed contract?
I'm not a businessman, apparently. That's my problem. I didn't write all this down. I should have done all of that.
Was there a document like this that you saw?
I have it.
Okay. So did he do the phase 1 that he's talking about?
Yes, he did.
Okay, let's see. Down here it says phase 1 is $900 in labor and $250 materials for a total of $1,150, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So you agree he did that part. Why are you suing for $3,000 then?
I gave him a little over $3,000, and he did that part incorrectly as well.
Okay, what evidence do you have that he did that part incorrectly?
The only thing I have is an estimate that shows that they have to redo the brick cap and that they have to restucco everything. I don't have a written statement saying that it was done wrong.
Well, that's kind of what you're supposed to bring here if you want to say it was done wrong, right? Like my needs aren't, it's not like I'm not like a crazy judge asking for some wild thing. I'm asking you to prove what your premise is, which is it was done wrong. According to these canceled checks, he's paid you $3,770.
And there was also $300 cash, Your Honor.
Then so it's a total of $4,000.
So what was it,
All right, let me ask you a question.
11? At
some point, you guys decide that everybody's going to walk away, and you sign this document that says that you're going to pay him $1,600. What happened?
He came outside and said, I don't think your heart's into the job anymore. I think I'd like it if I let my mason finish. And I'm like, okay, great. I was thrilled. I was going to grab my stuff and go. And then he comes out with the paper that says the $1,600 thing and says, with his 150-pound dog next to him, and says, sign this or you can't leave. So I was happy to sign it, and
I'm sorry.
I got to my car so fast.
I'm sorry. Stop. Are you suggesting to me that you signed it under duress?
Oh, I was definitely.
Were the 2 of you there?
I was not.
No, I was.
So
I was
you're there.
That.
You probably have 100 pounds on him.
I'm not scared of him. I've been bit by a large dog.
So he had a large dog, and did he say sick him? Was he doing anything with the dog?
No, the dog seemed calm.
So you read the entire document, agreed with it, and signed it because he has a pet?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes,
It's not that you signed it and then you're just a creep and didn't follow up with what you said you do and didn't pay back the $1,600 because you thought about it and you'd rather put the $1,600 in your pocket than put it in his?
No, I would have signed
That's not
anything.
it, because it's kind of looking that way.
So when you hire a contractor, how do you know they're good?
You go to the Better Business Bureau and check them out to see if there have been any complaints against them.
Okay, fair enough, but that's not always a great solution. What do you say? What else do you do?
I would look online, just see if there's any reviews about them, what other people are saying. Yelp's a good site.
That's actually a good idea, too. Anybody else have another idea? Okay, I'll give you one in a minute, okay? Going inside the courtroom.
I didn't do anything wrong to his job. I bent over backwards for him. I plastered his foundation 3 different times.
My dear,
we worked
why
twice
would
as
you
many.
sign this and say, I'm going to pay you back $1,600? In fact, you worked out a payment plan where you're paying $400 in November. How did you end up writing this, like the different amounts that he could afford to pay? Was there discussion between the two of you?
Yeah,
or did you just pick it?
I have a recording because he didn't have money to pay me, so I gave him the option to
Let
give
me
me
hear your
payment.
recording. I want to hear what he's
I have
saying. Oh, I got it.
Photos as well of his work.
Hold on. Did you know he was taping you?
No.
No.
Now, where's all the materials for this job? You already have the $2,600 plus $300. You already have $300 over what the original price of this was, right? And now that you have that and it's spent, there's no materials here to complete what I gave you material money for. Has me concerned because now your heart's just not in it, and you don't have money to get the materials. You're telling me now, right?
Yeah, I know, I'm broke.
You're telling me that you don't have money to get these materials, but you're going to be done by Monday. How does that work?
Well, I was going to ask you to...
No, I'm done giving money. I'm done giving money out until this is completed. So we have another option then. If you want, I can have my masons come and finish this, but I'm going to be asking you for $1,600 back because that's more than fair. $1,400 with them having to redo everything themselves is going to cost me about $2,500, $2,600. I can't let you leave without have something, in writing, and make sure that I have my covered.
I'll give you 400 out of that, 400 out of the next one, 400 out of the next one. I'm never going to dish you. You're a friend of Stock's. I feel terrible.
Look,
Oh, you do? You feel terrible because he's a friend of Scott's? Jeez, because it looked like you ditched him. It doesn't sound to me like you're being coerced in any way, shape, or form.
I don't know. I just wanted out of there. I was done. I lost the taste.
Yeah, that's not coercion. You said, you got paid a lot of money on this, and the fact I'm not talking to you right now. The fact that you just keep spending the money on your own bills and your own things, that's not good. That's bad. All right, listen. If it was good enough for you then, it's good enough for me now. I'm going to order them to return $1,600 to you. So
I have photo documentation. You can see.
Yeah, let me see the photos you have. But you're expecting me to draw a conclusion from visually looking at that. Maybe I will. Maybe they're so horrible that you have a counterclaim against him for $365. You have got to be kidding me.
Well, he stole our tools.
Yeah, I went back to get the tools and they were gone.
Just gone.
Hold on. How does he steal your tools? You guys, stop. You guys were in the middle of a job.
No, he told us to leave.
Stop talking. No, he didn't. Your brother, is your brother?
Yes.
Is settling the situation with him.
Correct.
Why don't you just take all your stuff with you that day?
I grabbed what I could and I got out of there.
Oh, okay. Well, then why don't you go the next day and get all your stuff?
I went back a couple of days later. He was there. I didn't want to be there when he was there. When I finally went back, it was gone.
When you finally went back was how much later?
A week.
Yeah, a week later.
Okay, now according to you, his stuff was all where? Out front or on the roof?
This is still there. The materials that he was supposed to take with his wheelbarrow is still sitting on the side of my house. His tools that were also on the side of the house are gone.
That's a lie. He gave them to a gentleman, and I spoke to the gentleman. That's a lie.
Do you have any evidence of what you just said?
We can call him. I have his phone number, Dougie, the cider.
He gave away our tools.
What's the guy's name?
Dougie.
Dougie. Did you tell Dougie he could take the tools because nobody's picking them up?
I told him to take the tools eventually.
And what was the other answer?
Hold on. And so Dougie you said these guys haven't picked up the stuff, and how many days had passed?
It was at least a couple weeks.
You don't know?
I don't know specifically.
Well, you don't have a right to just get rid of stuff after a couple weeks. That doesn't belong to you. All right, here's where we are, folks. I'm ruling in the favor of the plaintiffs. You're returning $1,600 to him. Okay? And as for your counterclaim, go pick up whatever's left for you to pick up.
There's nothing there.
There's nothing there.
There's a wheelbarrow. He just said there's still a wheelbarrow.
Yes, the wheelbarrow, sure.
You want it or you don't?
I do. Of
course. You do? Then go pick it up.
And the
are we
materials,
going to
Your
have a
Honor?
problem because they have to go on your property to pick it up?
No, but I would like him to take all the materials as well that's with the wheelbarrow. This is the material that's there. There's probably about 5 bags of the wrong product.
Why did you say to me earlier when I asked you what happened to the tools? He picked them up. I don't know. They're not there. When you know what happened to them because you told Dougie to take them?
It was
you're
an
a liar?
judgment. I apologize, Your Honor.
You apologize for lying to me?
Really?
Yes, I do.
You know what? Y'all deserve each other. But I think that probably the fairest estimate of what money should be returned was the one that was arrived at willingly, not through coercion, not because there's a dog in the vicinity, but the one that takes place before it ends up in court. That's probably the most reasonable estimate of what is a fair amount to be returned. $1,600 worth for the plaintiff.
All right, here they come. You made the deal for $1,600, and judge tells you have to stick with that deal. What's your reaction to this?
I'm fine with it. Yeah, I'm fine with it.
We can handle
I'm happy to never talk to him again.
Right,
I'm glad the judge seen him for what he was.
What about your foray into being an entrepreneur?
No, I already work for somebody else again. I waited so long to start a business, and it was terrible.
Didn't work out?
No.
Back to hump and block.
Yeah. Excellent. I was waiting for that. Have a good one.
Mm-hmm. All right, so step on in here, and you're feeling about this outcome here?
I'm fine with it.
You kind of got nailed at the end there.
I did. I made an error in judgment, like I said. And it was foolish of me.
How about the judgment of hiring these two gentlemen right here?
That was even more an error in judgment.
All right, Harvey.
Okay, contractors in most states are licensed by the state. And what you do is you contact the licensing board, and they have a whole list of discipline, claims, gripes, and it will really help you in making that decision. Plus, get a good referral. And that will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.
This is the plaintiff, Jill Lewis. She says she hired the defendant to record an audio book which would meet the technical requirements of iTunes and Amazon, and the product he delivered to her failed the requirements, and she wasted her hard-earned money. She gave the guy 3 tries to correct the problem. Each time her audio book was rejected, and she's here in the name of justice, suing for the $900 she wasted. This is the defendant, Orlando Hall. He says the plaintiff simply doesn't understand the process of being in a recording studio and all that goes into the final product. She bought 30 hours worth of time but got impatient and didn't allow him the proper time to mix the audiobook correctly. Well, he's sorry, but he was ready, willing, and able to complete the job. The plaintiff pulled out early, and he owes nothing. He's accused of making too much noise.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket. The plaintiff hired the defendant to record a book that could be put on iTunes, but the guy didn't do it right. The defendant says she's just impatient. It's the case of booking it.
Thank you, Douglas. Jill Lewis, yes. You are suing Area 51 Enterprise LLC, represented here by Orlando Hall. You're the owner, for $900 that you want returned to you because, according to you, he could not produce what it is he was hired to produce. Tell me what we're talking about here.
So, Judge, I was in the process of self-publishing my first business book called Selling to Heroes, Villains, and Geeks. And I was planning on selling it.
What's it about?
It is about how to become a vendor at anime, sci-fi, and comic conventions. If you're selling plushies or figures or posters.
What could be more specific than, okay. Okay.
And
how did you get into all this?
Well, I've always been a big Japanese anime fan. It's big business.
No, I'm sure it is.
Vendors, they are a big part of any anime or comic convention. And you can have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of vendors, and you'll have 10,000, 20,000, 50,000 people running through the vendor room buying stuff.
Wow. Okay. So
I was in the process of self-publishing, selling to heroes, vendors, and geeks, and I wanted to sell it on Amazon in 3 formats: as an ebook, a paperback, and an audiobook. And in order to sell an audiobook on Amazon, you have to go through their sole distributor, which is ACX. And for ACX to accept your audiobook, you have to meet their requirements regarding production values.
Okay.
So I was going to be the narrator, and I needed a recording studio located where I live, so I posted the job on Thumbtack.
When you posted it, did you explain everything you just explained to me?
I explained that it was an ebook and it had to meet ACX requirements.
Okay, is that accurate?
Yes, actually.
Okay. Go ahead.
So several recording studios responded, and I spoke to Orlando, and I eventually hired Orlando. And I sent him an email with a link to ACX webpage, which lists out the requirements, as well as a contract from ACX.
Do you have that email?
Yes.
May I see it? Is there a written contract between the two of you?
Yes, there is.
May I see that too?
Yes.
And do you have a copy of the contract?
No, unfortunately, I don't.
What's the point of having a contract if you're not going to keep the copy of it? The whole idea behind a contract is to memorialize what the agreement is in case it comes up later. It came up later.
The contract didn't have to do with the money.
Listen to me. I'll decide that.
Okay.
If you have a contract in a case and you're being sued on a contract, I suggest you walk in with a contract because it makes you look unprofessional. Strike one. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So go ahead.
So on the email, you will see that Orlando replied that yes, he could meet the requirements, and regarding the contract, that he would sign the contract when I came into the studio.
Okay, this contract that I'm looking at, who authors this contract? Who gave you this contract to sign?
So ACX has several contract templates online.
Ah.
So I pulled the contract that applied to my specific requirements.
Wow, okay, so clearly the contract between the two of you was actually authored by ACX, so there's no confusion that ACX has to approve okay, go ahead.
Okay, so originally I thought I was just going to need 10 hours, but when it was all said and done, I needed to buy 3 packages or 30 hours for $900. So we went in, we recorded the book, we had a good time. Orlando is a lovely person, and I really enjoyed working with him. And after it was finished, he delivered the audiobook. I uploaded the audiobook to ACX, and it was rejected. It turned out it did not meet any of their requirements.
Can I see, did they reject it in writing?
Yes.
May I see their rejection?
Yes. The book was rejected 3 times, so I'm going to give you the 3 emails showing that the book was rejected 3 times, as well as the reasons why.
When it gets rejected, do they send you an email or him an email or both of you?
So what happened is they sent me an email, and then I subsequently sent Orlando an email. I just copy and pasted all of the reasons why the book was rejected. And the main reason was that there was this buzzing sound throughout the entire 5 hours of the narration.
So, okay, who reads here? Who reads books in one form or another? Okay, you qualify.
Yeah.
What's better, reading or listening to a book on tape?
Listening on tape, I think, because it's more convenient. If you have places to go, in the car, you can listen to it anytime.
Fair enough. Who disagrees? Old school.
Yeah, I like reading a real book. I feel like I'm less distracted by other things that are going on.
Paper or Kindle?
Paper.
Ah, wow, you are old school. Even I don't do that, going inside the courtroom.
So there's the buzzing sound, there's the spacing requirements, which had been specified that said you have to end each chapter, I guess, with a certain amount of dead time so that they can, right? And then that the title does not meet editing requirements. So you get this, and what do you do?
Well, originally what happened was after we finished the recording, she, like she said, she was thoroughly pleased with the experience. She wrote me a great review, which I have here as part of the as the evidence. See, the requirement, the contract was not actually about the recording. The contract was about the specifications. There's certain numbers of loudness levels.
Okay, why was it rejected?
Well, it was rejected.
If you understood it, why was it rejected? Because apparently you may have understood it, but your execution did not follow your understanding because it got rejected. There was a buzzing sound throughout the recording, correct?
Right. It was a light. It was a feedback of a fluorescent light.
How do you not know that? This is your business.
I understand that.
Okay, so she's not a jerk. She doesn't say, "Give me my money back." She says, "Okay, I'll give you a chance to correct it," and you correct it. How do you correct it?
I corrected it by EQing and actually removing the volume of the noise.
What's EQing?
Basically, you take an equalizer and you find the frequency, the offending frequency. In this particular term, it was about 60 hertz or so, which is the standard emission of a light, or maybe like a TV when it's off. So I lowered that, submitted it.
Okay, so that should do it.
They rejected it.
Why?
Because they said it was still too loud.
Okay.
So then
is she a jerk then and says, "Give my money back," or she give you a second chance to fix it?
No, I totally.
Okay, how is it that this lady doesn't deserve her money back? They rejected it how many times?
3 times.
3 times. You were specifically hired to produce a piece that that met their standards, and you were specifically rejected from meeting their standards. They said, "No, this doesn't meet our standards." 1, 2, 3 times. What is your defense?
My defense is that what happened was I lowered the tone in the first recording. They sent it back. Then I removed the tone completely. This is 30 chapters we're talking. I removed the tone. It came back, and they said a handful of chapters were rejected. So of the, let's say, 30 chapters, maybe 5 came back. Now
Says who? Do you have something that says that?
Unfortunately, I deleted that particular email.
That was a really stupid idea for a businessman to do.
Well,
especially when you know from Jump Street there's a dispute because she was demanding her money back. So you had to see the writing on the wall. So what she's showing me doesn't say anything about, oh, it almost made it. She shows me 3 rejections, my friend. And throughout the whole contract, it says what the requirements are. You couldn't get the job done. If you can't get the job done, why is this lady not entitled to her money back? Wait, let me short circuit that. She is. $900. Verdict for the plaintiff. Plus your court costs.
Here comes the defendant in this case. Plaintiff gets everything. What are you going to do now?
I don't know. I mean, I brought the actual files to listen to. Only a handful of them came back eventually. The majority of the files were accepted, and only just a handful came back.
Is that good enough in your book?
I could have gave her the opportunity to fix it.
All right. Head right down this way.
All right.
You could have given, why didn't you? He could have given you the opportunity to fix it, he just said. Why didn't you fix it?
It became clear to me that I was going to have to re-record the entire book to remove the background noise.
Mm-hmm. And so why'd you hire him in the first place? Why is...
No, Orlando is a lovely person. Mm-hmm. He had done a number of music CDs. He had excellent reviews on Thumbtack. So
this was just one of those things that didn't work out?
It's just one of those things.
So did you get the thing eventually recorded, and is it up anywhere?
It is. Well, the ebook and the paperback is on Amazon, Selling to Heroes, Villains, and Geeks.
Oh.
And the audiobook will be available this summer.
Okay. You got that? All right.
Got it.
Harvey?
Okay, Kurt, I got to say, I mean, this seems pretty simple, that if somebody promises to do work under a contract and the other person isn't blocking their performance in some way, so they have the ability to do the work but don't, I mean, the bottom line is they don't get paid.